The red warning lights flashed across the cargo bay of Kepler Station as Dr. Lisa Murphy hurried through the metal corridors. Her white lab coat billowed behind her as she moved quickly toward the docking area where the Zeltharian merchant ship had just departed. The station's security chief had called her about something unusual left behind in the cargo hold. Lisa had been working late in her xenobiology lab when the call came through. She was tired from studying tissue samples from 3 different alien species, but curiosity drove her forward. The Zeltharians rarely left anything behind, and when they did, it was usually something dangerous or valuable. The cargo bay doors hissed open as Lisa approached. The massive space was mostly empty now, filled only with the lingering smell of alien fuel and the cold metallic scent of the station's recycled air. Her footsteps echoed in the vast chamber as she walked deeper into the bay, following the coordinates the security chief had given her. Then she saw it. In the far corner, behind a stack of empty cargo containers, something small and dark huddled against the wall. Lisa's breath caught in her throat as she realized what she was looking at. It was a child, definitely alien, but shaped somewhat like a human. The figure was curled up in a tight ball, shivering in the cold air of the cargo bay. Lisa approached slowly, her hands raised to show she meant no harm. The child looked up at her with large violet eyes that seemed to glow in the dim light. The alien girl had pale blue skin marked with intricate silver patterns that ran along her arms and face like natural tattoos. Her hair was white and fell in waves around her shoulders, and she wore simple gray clothing that looked worn and dirty. "Hey there," Lisa said softly, crouching down to the child's level. "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" The girl stared at Lisa with a mixture of fear and confusion. She spoke in a language Lisa didn't recognize, but the tone was clearly distressed. The words came out in rapid bursts, and the child kept pointing to her legs while shaking her head. Lisa noticed that the girl's legs were positioned strangely, as if she couldn't move them properly. When the child tried to shift her position, she used only her arms to drag herself along the floor. Understanding dawned on Lisa's face as she realized the girl was paralyzed from the waist down. "You can't walk," Lisa said gently, more to herself than to the child, "and they left you here." The girl seemed to understand Lisa's tone, even if she couldn't understand the words. She nodded slowly, tears forming in her violet eyes. She spoke again in her alien language, but this time her voice was barely a whisper. Lisa felt anger rising in her chest. How could anyone abandon the child, especially one who needed help? She pushed down her emotions and focused on what the girl needed right now. The child was clearly cold, hungry, and scared. Whatever species she belonged to, she was just a frightened kid who needed care. "I'm Lisa," she said, pointing to herself. "Lisa." She repeated her name slowly, hoping the child would understand. The girl watched Lisa's mouth carefully as she spoke. After a moment, she pointed to herself and said something that sounded like Zara. "Zara?" Lisa repeated, and the girl nodded. With what might have been a small smile, Lisa carefully examined Zara without touching her, looking for any obvious injuries. The girl was thin, probably malnourished, and her skin had a grayish tint that suggested she might be sick. But there were no visible wounds or bleeding. "Can you understand me at all?" Lisa asked, speaking slowly and clearly. Zara tilted her head and made a gesture with her hand that seemed to indicate a little bit. Lisa smiled. "That's good, that's very good." She stood up and activated her communication device. "Medical team to Cargo Bay 7. We have a juvenile alien in need of immediate care." While they waited for the medical team, Lisa sat down on the floor near Zara, being careful not to get too close and frighten her. She pulled out her tablet and began showing Zara pictures of different things, trying to learn more about her condition and needs. When Zara saw a picture of food, she pointed to it eagerly and rubbed her stomach. Lisa showed her pictures of water, and Zara nodded vigorously. It was clear she was both hungry and thirsty. The medical team arrived within minutes. Dr. Paul Henderson, the station's chief medical officer, entered the cargo bay with 2 nurses and a floating medical stretcher. He took one look at Zara and his expression grew serious. "Cathara?" he said quietly to Lisa. "She's from the Cathara species. They're a warrior culture from the Outer Rim territories. Lisa frowned. What's a Cathara child doing here alone? Paul's face was grim. The Cathara have very strict beliefs about physical perfection. If a child is born with disabilities or becomes disabled, they're often abandoned or worse. It's considered a mark of shame on the family. That's barbaric, Lisa said, her voice filled with disgust. It's their culture, Paul replied, but his tone suggested he didn't approve either. We need to get her to the medical bay. She looks dehydrated and malnourished. Lisa knelt down beside Zara again. We're going to help you, she said softly. These people are doctors. They want to make you feel better. Zara seemed to understand the gentle tone, but she looked frightened when the medical team approached. She grabbed Lisa's hand with surprising strength and spoke rapidly in her native language. She doesn't want me to leave, Lisa realized. She's scared, Paul nodded. You can come with us? It might help keep her calm. Lisa gently helped the medical team lift Zara onto the stretcher. The girl never let go of Lisa's hand, and her violet eyes stayed fixed on Lisa's face as they moved through the station's corridors toward the medical bay as they traveled. Lisa found herself thinking about what Paul had said. The Cathara were known throughout the galaxy as fierce warriors who valued strength above all else. They were respected for their fighting skills and their rigid honor code. But if they would abandon a child simply because she couldn't walk, then their honor was worthless in Lisa's opinion. The medical bay was bright and clean, filled with the most advanced medical equipment the station had to offer. The team quickly began running tests on Zara, checking her vital signs and trying to determine her exact condition. Lisa stayed close to Zara throughout the examination, holding her hand and speaking softly to her. Even though they couldn't understand each other's words, they were beginning to understand each other's intentions. Her legs show signs of nerve damage, Paul explained to Lisa as he reviewed the test results. It appears to be a genetic condition that affects the neural pathways controlling the lower body. In human terms, she's completely paralyzed from the waist down. Can it be treated? Lisa asked. Paul shook his head. Not with Cathara medical technology. Their medicine focuses on enhancement and physical strength, not treating disabilities. They probably consider her condition incurable. Lisa looked at Zara, who was now resting comfortably on the medical bed. The girl had finally relaxed somewhat, though she still watched everything around her with wary eyes. What happens to her now? Lisa asked. Protocol says we should contact the Cathara authorities and arrange for her return, Paul said reluctantly. You mean send her back to the people who abandoned her? That's what the regulations require. Lisa felt something fierce and protective stirring in her chest. She looked at Zara's trusting face and made a decision that would change both their lives. Forever, then we'll have to find another way, she said quietly. 3 weeks had passed since Lisa found Zara in the cargo bay. The young Cathara girl now lived in a small medical room that had been converted into temporary quarters. Lisa visited her every day, bringing food, books, and most importantly, companionship. The first few days had been difficult. Zara barely ate and spent most of her time curled up in the corner of her bed, staring at the wall. She flinched whenever anyone besides Lisa entered the room, and she cried silently when she thought no one was watching. Lisa had started learning basic Cathara language from the station's database. The words were harsh and guttural, designed for a warrior culture that valued strength and dominance. But when Lisa spoke them softly, trying to comfort Zara, they somehow sounded gentler. Good morning, Zara, Lisa said as she entered the room carrying a tray of breakfast. She had learned that the Cathara greeting was more like a challenge, but she made it sound warm and friendly. Zara looked up from where she sat propped against her pillows. Her violet eyes were brighter now, and some color had returned to her. Pale blue skin, she managed a small smile when she saw Lisa. Good morning, Lisa, Zara replied in careful English. Her accent was thick, but she was learning quickly. Lisa had been teaching her human words while learning Cathara ones herself. I brought you something special today, Lisa said, setting the tray down on the bedside table. Along with the usual meal, there was a small electronic tablet loaded with human music. Zara picked up the tablet curiously. She had never seen anything like it before. The Kithara focused on weapons and warfare, not entertainment or art, when Lisa showed her how. To activate it, soft music began playing from the device. The effect on Zara was immediate. Her eyes widened in wonder, and she held the tablet closer to her ear as if she couldn't believe what she was hearing. The music was gentle and flowing, nothing like the harsh battle songs of her people. "Beautiful," Zara whispered, one of the first English words she had learned. Lisa smiled. "Music is important to humans. It helps us feel better when we're sad or scared." Zara nodded slowly. "Kithara no music, only war songs. Only strength songs. What did you do before?" Lisa asked. Carefully. She was still learning about Zara's background and didn't want to upset her. Zara's face darkened. "I was nothing. Broken thing, shamed a family." She spoke the words in English, but Lisa could hear the pain behind them. "You're not broken," Lisa said firmly. "You're different, but that doesn't make you less valuable." Zara looked confused. "Not understand. Kithara must be strong, must walk, must fight. I cannot. I am useless." Lisa felt her heart break a little. She had been working with Zara for weeks, but the girl's deep belief in her own worthlessness was hard to change. The Kithara culture had taught her that physical ability was the only measure of worth. "Let me show you something," Lisa said. She pulled out her own tablet and opened a file containing pictures of famous humans who had overcome disabilities. This man couldn't walk, but he became a great leader. This woman was blind, but she wrote beautiful books. This person couldn't hear, but they created amazing art. Zara studied the pictures carefully. They were valued? Very much. Humans believe that everyone has something special to offer. Your mind, your heart, your spirit. These things matter more than whether you can walk. Zara was quiet for a long time, looking at the pictures. Finally, she asked, "What can I offer?" Lisa thought for a moment. "You're intelligent. You've learned English faster than most people learn new languages. You notice things others miss. You have a kind heart, even after everything that happened to you." "My father said I was burdened," Zara said quietly. "My mother cried when she looked at me. My brother's ashamed to have broken sister." "Your family was wrong," Lisa said, her voice gentle but firm. "They were so focused on one thing, physical strength, that they couldn't see all the other things that make you special." Jake Collins, the station's engineer, knocked on the door frame. He had been helping Lisa modify the room to make it more comfortable for Zara. "Mind if I come in?" "I've got something for our guest." Zara tensed up as Jake entered. She was still nervous around other humans, but she was slowly getting used to the regular visitors. "What did you bring?" Lisa asked. Jake grinned and pulled out a small wheeled chair. "I built this for Zara. It's not fancy, but it'll help her move around on her own." Zara stared at the wheelchair with a mixture of hope and fear. "For me?" "Oh, yours," Jake said. "Want to try it out?" With Lisa's help, Zara transferred from the bed to the wheelchair. It took her a few minutes to figure out how to operate it, but soon she was moving around the room under her own power. The look of joy on her face was something Lisa would never forget. "I can move," Zara said, tears streaming down her face. "I can go places?" "That's the idea," Jake said, pleased with her reaction. "Independence is important." Over the following days, Zara's world expanded beyond her small room. Lisa took her on tours of the station, showing her the research labs, the observation decks, and the common areas where off-duty crew members relaxed. Maria Santos, the communications officer, had joined their small group of Zara's supporters. She was teaching the girl about different alien cultures and showing her that the galaxy was much bigger and more diverse than the Kithara had taught her. "Your people are not the only warriors in the galaxy," Maria explained as they sat in the observation lounge, looking out at the stars. "But they are the only ones who abandon their children for being different." Zara absorbed this information quietly. She was learning that the Kithara way was not the only way, and certainly not the best way. Captain Roy Bennett had been watching the situation develop with growing concern. The Galactic Council had been asking questions about the abandoned Kithara child, and pressure was building to return her to her people. "We can't keep her here indefinitely," he told Lisa during one of their meetings. "The Kithara government is demanding her return. They're calling it a diplomatic incident. She doesn't want to go back," Lisa argued. "They'll probably kill her." "That's not our decision to make," the captain replied, though he sounded troubled. "We have protocols to follow." Lisa left the meeting feeling frustrated and worried. She had grown deeply attached to Zara, and the thought of sending her back to a culture that viewed her as worthless was unbearable. When she returned to Zara's room, she found the girl working on a drawing tablet that Jake had modified for her. Zara had discovered she had artistic talent, something that would have been considered useless in Kithara society but was appreciated by the humans. "What are you drawing?" Lisa asked. Zara showed her the screen. It was a picture of the observation deck with the stars visible through the large windows. But she had added something that wasn't really there, a small figure in a wheelchair looking up at the stars with wonder. "This is me," Zara said softly. "First time I see stars and feel happy." Lisa felt tears forming in her eyes. "It's beautiful, Zara. You're very talented." "Kithara would say this is waste of time," Zara said. "But I love doing it. Makes me feel ... valuable." That word hit Lisa like a physical blow. Valuable. Such a simple concept, but one that had been denied to this child her entire life. "You are valuable," Lisa said firmly. "Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise." As they sat together in the quiet room, Lisa made a silent promise to herself. She would find a way to protect Zara, no matter what it took. The girl had already suffered enough, and Lisa would not let her suffer more. Outside the window, the stars continued their eternal dance, indifferent to the struggles of the small beings below. But inside the room, something precious was growing. A bond between two very different people who had found family in each other. Lisa stared at the medical data on her screen, her heart racing with excitement. After weeks of studying Zara's condition, she had finally found something that might help. The Kithara neural pathways were different from human ones, but not in the way she had expected. "Paul, you need to see this," she called to Dr. Henderson, who was working at the next station in the medical lab. Paul walked over and looked at the genetic analysis Lisa had been running. His eyebrows rose as he read the results. "This is interesting," he said slowly. "The neural damage isn't permanent. It's more like the pathways are blocked rather than destroyed." "Exactly," Lisa said, pointing to specific readings on the screen. "The Kithara medical files say this condition is incurable, but they never tried to unblock the pathways. They just accepted it as permanent." Paul frowned. "Why wouldn't they try to treat it?" "Because their culture sees disability as a character flaw, not a medical condition," Lisa explained. "They don't research treatments for something they consider shameful." Nina Foster, the station's robotics expert, had been listening to their conversation. "What kind of treatment are you thinking about?" Lisa turned to face her. "We'd need to combine neural interface technology with some kind of mechanical support system. The interfaces could help rebuild the blocked pathways, and the mechanical system could provide support while the nerves heal." "That's incredibly risky," Paul warned. "We've never tried neural interface surgery on a Kithara before." "We don't know how their nervous system would react to our technology." "But it's possible?" Lisa asked. Paul considered for a moment. "Theoretically, yes. But the surgery would be complex, and there's no guarantee it would work. We could make her condition worse." Lisa felt a mix of hope and fear. There was a chance they could help Zara walk again, but there was also a chance they could hurt her. Further, what does Zara think about this? Nina asked. "I haven't told her yet," Lisa admitted. "I wanted to make sure it was actually possible before getting her hopes up." The conversation was interrupted by an urgent announcement over the station's communication system. "All senior staff report to the command center immediately." Lisa, Paul, and Nina hurried to the command center, where Captain Bennett was waiting with a grim expression on his face. "We have a problem," he announced. "A Kithara diplomatic vessel has just entered our space. They're demanding the return of the abandoned child." Lisa felt her stomach drop. "Are they her family?" "The ship is registered to Commander Thane of the Kithara Military Council, the captain replied. According to our records, he's Zara's father. He abandoned her, Lisa said angrily. He has no right to take her back now. Unfortunately, galactic law doesn't see it that way, Captain Bennett said. Parents have the right to reclaim their children, even if they previously abandoned them. This is about politics, not family, Paul said quietly. The Kithara government is probably embarrassed by the situation. Having one of their children rescued by humans makes them look bad. Lisa felt panic rising in her chest. We can't let them take her. They'll kill her to avoid further embarrassment. I'm going to try to delay them, Captain Bennett said. But I need you to prepare Zara for the possibility that she might have to leave. Lisa left the command center feeling desperate. She had to tell Zara about both the potential treatment and the threat of being returned to her people. When she reached Zara's room, she found the girl working on another drawing, this one showing humans and Kithara standing together peacefully. Zara, I need to talk to you about something important, Lisa said, sitting down beside the wheelchair. Zara looked up from her drawing, sensing the seriousness in Lisa's voice. What is wrong? There are two things I need to tell you, Lisa began. First, I think we might have found a way to help you walk again. Zara's eyes widened. Walk? Really? It's not certain, Lisa said carefully. It would require surgery, and it's very risky. But there's a chance we could repair the damage to your nerves. Zara was quiet for a long moment. Would I be normal? Like other Kithara? You're already normal, Lisa said firmly. But yes, you might be able to walk. What a second thing? Zara asked, though she looked worried. Lisa took a deep breath. Your father is here. He wants to take you back to Kithara space. The color drained from Zara's face. No, she whispered. He said I was dead to him. He said I brought shame to family. I think the government sent him, Lisa explained. They're embarrassed that humans found you and helped you. They want to take you back to avoid political problems. Zara started shaking. They will kill me. Cannot have living reminder of their shame. I won't let that happen, Lisa said, taking Zara's hands. I promise you, I will not let them take you. How can you stop them? Zara asked. They have big ships. Many weapons. I don't know yet, Lisa admitted, but I'll find a way. Over the next few hours, Lisa worked frantically to develop a plan. She contacted every legal expert she could find, looking for a way to prevent Zara's return. The answers were all the same. Galactic law favored parental rights, even in cases of abandonment. Meanwhile, Nina and Paul began preparing for the experimental surgery. If they could prove that human medical technology could help Zara, it might give them legal grounds to keep her on the station for treatment. The neural interfaces are ready, Nina reported. I've modified them to work with Kithara nervous systems. The mechanical support system is also complete. How soon can we do the surgery? Lisa asked. We could start tomorrow, Paul said. But Zara needs to understand the risks. This isn't just about walking. If something goes wrong, she could be paralyzed completely, or worse. Lisa returned to Zara's room to discuss the options. The girl was sitting by the window, staring out at the Kithara ship that hung in space. Like a dark threat. I want to do surgery, Zara said before Lisa could speak. You need to understand what could happen, Lisa said. If something goes wrong, you could be hurt badly. You could die? Zara turned to face her. If I go back to my people, I will die anyway. At least this way, I choose my own fate. Lisa felt tears forming in her eyes. You're so brave. You taught me to be brave, Zara replied. You showed me that I have value. Now I want to fight for that value. The surgery was scheduled for the next morning. Lisa spent the night sitting beside Zara's bed, holding her hand and talking about everything except the risks they were facing. If surgery works, Zara said softly, I want to help other Kithara children like me. Show them they are not broken. You will, Lisa promised. Whatever happens, you've already changed things. You've, shown everyone that the Kithara way isn't the only way. As dawn approached, Lisa felt a strange mix of hope and terror. They were about to attempt something that had never been done before. surgery that could either save Zara or destroy her. The operating room was prepared with both human and modified Kithara medical equipment. Nina's robotic systems were standing by, ready to provide support if the neural interfaces worked. "Are you ready?" Paul asked as they prepared to begin. Lisa looked at Zara, who was calm despite the enormous risk they were taking. The girl had already survived abandonment, cultural rejection, and the threat of death. She was ready to face whatever came next. "We're ready," Lisa said. As the surgery began, Lisa held on to a single thought, that love and determination could overcome any obstacle, even ones that seemed impossible. They were about to find out if human ingenuity and compassion could triumph over ancient prejudice and fear. The future hung in the balance, but for the first time since finding Zara in that cold cargo bay, Lisa felt truly hopeful. The surgery had been successful beyond anyone's expectations. Zara lay in the recovery room, her legs covered by a thin blanket, but for the first time in years, she could feel sensation in her feet. The neural interfaces were working perfectly, and the mechanical support system was already helping her damaged nerves begin to heal. "I can feel my toes," Zara whispered to Lisa, tears of joy streaming down her face. "I can actually feel them." Lisa smiled, but her happiness was overshadowed by the knowledge that Commander Thane was demanding an immediate meeting with station leadership. The Kithara ship had been joined by 2 more vessels, and they were making increasingly aggressive demands for Zara's return. "The feeling will get stronger as your nerves heal," Lisa explained. "In a few weeks you might be able to stand with the mechanical support." "Will I be able to walk before my father takes me away?" Zara asked quietly. "He's not taking you anywhere," Lisa said firmly. "I won't allow it." Captain Bennett entered the recovery room, his face grave. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have a situation. Commander Thane is threatening to board the station if we don't hand over Zara immediately." "He has no legal right to board a human station," Lisa protested. "He claims we're harboring stolen Kithara property," the captain replied. "Their laws don't recognize children as individuals with rights." Zara struggled to sit up in her bed. "I am not property." "I'm person. We know that," Captain Bennett said gently. "But convincing the Kithara government is another matter." Lisa felt anger building inside her. "What does Earth Command say?" "They're considering ordering us to hand her over," the captain admitted. "The Kithara Empire is threatening to break off diplomatic relations if we don't comply." "So they're willing to sacrifice one child for political convenience?" Lisa asked bitterly. "The decision hasn't been made yet," Captain Bennett said. "But I wanted you to know what we're facing." After the captain left, Lisa sat beside Zara's bed, trying to think of a solution. The girl was finally healing, finally discovering her own worth, and now they wanted to send her back to the people who had thrown her away like garbage. "Lisa," Zara said softly, "I have idea. What is it? Kithara respects strength, yes?" "What if I show them I am strong?" Lisa frowned. "What do you mean?" "I know things about Kithara ships," Zara explained. "I lived on military vessels before they abandoned me. I know their weaknesses." "You want to help us fight them?" "I want to help you protect me," Zara said. "And maybe help you understand that not all Kithara are bad." Lisa realized that Zara was right. The girl had grown up in a military family and had probably absorbed more knowledge about Kithara tactics and technology than she realized. "Tell me what you know," Lisa said. Over the next hour, Zara shared detailed information about Kithara ship designs, their communication protocols, and their military strategies. She explained weaknesses in their defensive systems and predicted how they would likely approach any confrontation. "They will try to board station here," Zara said, pointing to a schematic Lisa had pulled up. "This is where they always breach when taking enemy ships." "How do you know all this?" Lisa asked, amazed by the girl's knowledge. "My father taught me before he decided I was useless," Zara replied. "He said smart warriors study their enemies." "I studied my own people." Lisa took this information to the station's security team, who were impressed by Zara's tactical insights. They began preparing defenses based on her predictions, while also working on a plan to prevent the confrontation entirely. Meanwhile, word had spread throughout the station about what was happening. The crew members who had gotten to know Zara over the past weeks were outraged at the idea of sending her back to her people. Jake Collins organized a meeting in the main conference room. "We can't let them take her," he said to the gathered crowd. "That kid has been through enough. What can we do?" asked Maria Santos. "We're just a research station. We can't fight the Cathara Empire." "Maybe we don't have to fight," said Dr. Henderson. "Maybe we can change their minds." "How?" someone called out. "By showing them what Zara has accomplished," Paul replied. "By proving that their definition of strength is wrong." Lisa felt a spark of hope. "What if we broadcast a message? Let Zara speak to her people directly?" "The Cathara don't usually listen to outsiders," Maria pointed out. "But they might listen to one of their own," Lisa said. "Especially if she proves she's not the weak, broken child they think she is." The crew began working on a plan to broadcast Zara's message throughout Cathara space. It was risky. If the message backfired, it could make things worse for her. When Lisa explained the plan to Zara, the girl's eyes lit up with determination. "I want to do it. I want to tell them they are wrong." "Are you sure?" Lisa asked. "If this doesn't work, it might make your father even angrier." "I am not afraid anymore," Zara said. "You taught me that I have value. Now I want to teach my people the same thing." The next morning, as Commander Thane's ships moved closer to the station, Lisa helped Zara prepare for the broadcast. The girl insisted on getting out of bed and into her wheelchair, even though she was still recovering from surgery. "I want them to see me as I am," she explained. Not hiding, not ashamed. The broadcast went live across multiple Cathara communication networks. Zara appeared on screen, sitting straight in her wheelchair, her violet eyes blazing with newfound confidence. "My name is Zara, daughter of Commander Thane," she began in fluent Cathara. "You know me as the broken child who brought shame to her family, but I am not broken. I am not weak. I am not worthless." She continued speaking, her voice growing stronger with each word. She talked about the things she had learned, the art she had created, the knowledge she possessed. She challenged the fundamental beliefs of her culture, arguing that true strength came from overcoming obstacles, not from avoiding them. "The humans did not see me as broken," she said. "They saw me as valuable. They helped me discover abilities I never knew I had. They gave me hope when my own people gave me only despair." As Zara spoke, something unexpected happened. The communication channels began filling with responses from other Cathara, young ones who had been hiding their own disabilities, adults who had lost loved ones to the culture's cruel standards. "She speaks truth," wrote one young Cathara. "I have been hiding my weakness for years, but maybe I do not have to." "My son was born with damaged eyes," wrote another. "I was told to abandon him, but I could not. We live in secret, but we live." The responses kept coming, hundreds of them, then thousands. Zara's message had struck a nerve throughout Cathara society. Commander Thane's response was swift and angry. "That is not my daughter," he announced over the communication channel. "My daughter is dead. This is some human trick." But his words rang hollow now. Too many Cathara had heard Zara's message and recognized the truth in it. Lisa watched the responses flooding in and felt a surge of hope. Zara had done something remarkable. She had started a revolution with nothing but her courage and her voice. "What happens now?" Zara asked, exhausted but proud. "Now we wait," Lisa replied, "and we prepare for whatever comes next." Outside the station, the Cathara ships continued their approach, but something had changed. The galaxy was watching, and for the first time in centuries, the Cathara people were questioning their own beliefs about strength and worth. The revolution began with a single voice. Within hours of Zara's broadcast, protests erupted on 3 major Cathara worlds. Young Cathara who had been hiding disabilities came forward publicly. Parents who had secretly kept their disabled children began speaking out. The rigid warrior culture that had ruled for centuries was suddenly facing questions. It had never expected to hear. Commander Thane's ships held their position outside the station, but they had not moved closer. Reports were coming in that other Cathara vessels were experiencing crew problems as soldiers questioned their orders to retrieve a child who had become a symbol of change. Lisa helped Zara to the observation deck. where the girl could see the stars while they waited for news. The neural interfaces were working better each day, and Zara could now move her feet slightly with the help of the mechanical support system. "Do you think they will listen?" Zara asked, watching her father's ships through the large windows. "Some of them already are," Lisa replied, showing Zara the latest reports on her tablet. "Look at this." The screen showed footage from the Kithara homeworld, where thousands of citizens had gathered in the capital city. They were holding signs written in their harsh language, but the message was clear. They supported Zara's call for change. "My people are not all bad," Zara said softly. "They have just been taught wrong things for too long." Captain Bennett's voice came over the communication system. "All senior staff to the command center immediately. We have incoming transmissions from multiple Kithara sources." Lisa and Zara made their way to the command center, where a complex situation was developing. The main screen showed 3 different Kithara officials trying to communicate with the station at the same time. "Commander Thane is demanding we ignore all other communications and deal only with him," Captain Bennett explained. "But we're also receiving calls from the Kithara Council of Elders and someone claiming to be Thane's brother." "His brother?" Zara looked surprised. "Uncle Kale? He was always kind to me." "Put him through first," Lisa suggested. The screen filled with the image of a Kithara male who looked similar to Commander Thane but had gentler eyes. When he saw Zara, his expression softened. "Little warrior," he said in accented English. "You have grown brave." "Uncle Kale," Zara replied, tears forming in her eyes. "You remember me." "I never forgot you," Kale said. "I have spent years arguing with your father and the council about our treatment of children like you. Your message has given voice to those of us who wanted change, but did not know how to start it." "What is happening on the homeworld?" Captain Bennett asked. Kale's expression grew serious. "Civil unrest? Protests? The younger generation is demanding reform of our laws regarding disability and strength. The old ways are being challenged like never before." "And Commander Thane?" "My brother is angry and embarrassed. The military hardliners support him, but even some of his own officers are questioning his orders." "The situation is delicate," Lisa stepped forward. "What do you suggest?" "Allow me to come aboard your station," Kale said. "Let me speak with Zara and help negotiate a solution that protects her while beginning the changes our society needs." "Captain," Bennett considered this carefully. "And if your brother tries to stop you?" "Then we will see how much support the old ways truly have," Kale replied. Within hours, Kale's smaller diplomatic vessel approached the station. Commander Thane's ships moved to intercept, but something unexpected happened. 2 of Thane's 3 ships refused to follow his orders and instead escorted Kale safely to the docking bay. The confrontation that followed was broadcast across both human and Kithara space. In the station's main conference room, 3 generations of Kithara culture faced each other. The old warrior tradition represented by Commander Thane, the progressive voice of Kale, and the new hope embodied by Zara. "You have stolen my daughter and filled her head with weak human ideas," Thane accused, his voice filled with rage. "I am not your daughter," Zara replied calmly. "You made that clear when you abandoned me. But I am still Kithara, and I love my people enough to try to help them change." "There is nothing wrong with our ways," Thane insisted. "Strength has made us great." "Strength built through cruelty is not true strength," Zara said. "True strength is helping others become better. True strength is admitting when you are wrong." Kale spoke up. "Brother, look at what our niece has accomplished. She learned a new language, created art, gained knowledge that helped protect this station. Are these not worthy achievements? They are human corruptions?" Thane replied stubbornly. Zara slowly stood up from her wheelchair, using the mechanical support system and her own recovering muscles. The movement was unsteady, but she managed to take 3 steps toward her father. "I can walk," she said simply. "The humans gave me back what you said was impossible to recover. They saw worth in me when you saw only shame." The room fell silent. Thane stared at his daughter, seeing her standing upright for the first time since she was a small child. The technology is not important, Zara continued. What matters is that they tried to help me when you gave up. They believed in me when you did not. Commander Thane's resistance began to crumble. We thought there was no hope. There is always hope, Lisa said gently, but only if you're willing to look for it. The negotiations that followed lasted 3 days. In the end, a remarkable agreement was reached. Zara would remain on the station to continue her recovery and education, but she would also serve as an ambassador between humans and the Cathara people. She would help establish medical exchange programs to treat disabled Cathara children and work to change the laws that had made her childhood so difficult. Commander Thane, faced with the overwhelming evidence of his daughter's achievements and the support she had gained from his own people, finally acknowledged that he had been wrong. I failed you as a father, he told Zara during their final private meeting. I let our culture's fear of weakness make me weak. You can change, Zara replied. Help other fathers learn to see their children differently. 6 months later, Zara stood without assistance for the first time since her surgery. She was preparing to return to the Cathara homeworld, not as a rejected child, but as a leader of the reform movement that had grown from her brave message. Lisa had been offered the position of head medical advisor for the new Cathara rehabilitation centers. She accepted, knowing that her work with Zara was just the beginning of something much larger. Are you ready? Lisa asked as they prepared to board the transport ship that would take them to Cathara space. Zara nodded, though Lisa could see she was nervous. I am ready to go home, but not as the same person who left. You're going home as yourself, Lisa said. That's all you ever needed to be. The transport ship departed from Kepler Station carrying not just Zara and Lisa, but also medical equipment, human doctors, and hope for thousands of disabled Cathara children who had been hidden away in shame. As they traveled through space toward the Cathara homeworld, Zara worked on her latest drawing. It showed children of many different species playing together, some in wheelchairs, some with missing limbs, some with other disabilities, all of them laughing and learning together. What will you call it? Lisa asked. Zara smiled. I will call it The Real Meaning of Strength on the Cathara homeworld. Construction had already begun on the first rehabilitation center. The building would be designed by human architects working with Cathara engineers, a symbol of cooperation between two very different cultures that had learned to see value in their differences. The center would bear a simple inscription in both Cathara and human languages. Every individual has worth. Every life has meaning. Every person deserves hope. And in a small garden beside the center, there would be a statue of a young girl in a wheelchair looking up at the stars with wonder and determination in her eyes.